1616, Governor Daniel Tucker requested that Negroes be brought to Bermuda to dive for pearls, and in the summer of that same year, a black man and an Indian were brought to Bermuda on the ship the Edwin. The first blacks and Indians who were brought to the islands were valued for their skill at diving for pearls and growing tobacco, and were not slaves but were considered indentured servants. However, as early as the 1620s, most black and Indian servants were being indentured for a period of 99 years, effectively making them slaves for life. This building at the eastern end of Water Street was the headquarters of the Order of Good Samaritans and the Daughters of Samaria. The Samaritans' Lodge was created in the 1800s to aid newly freed slaves. Today, the Samaritans' Lodge building is home to the Bermudian Heritage Museum, Bermuda's only black history museum. The museum has a variety of artifacts, photographs, and uniforms, as well as exhibits on the Friendly Societies, black nurses, cop match, and the institution of slavery, which denied basic human rights to blacks in Bermuda for over 200 years. As the island began to develop, slaves became involved in many of the occupations which were required by the island's diverse economy. Female slaves worked as domestics, field hands, child minders, and nurses, and there was even one black woman who worked as an executioner in 1652. Male slaves worked as house servants, field hands, carpenters, masons, shipbuilders, sailors, and a variety of other jobs. Some professions, such as pilots, were dominated by blacks, and black pilots were said to be kings on board ship and highly esteemed on land. Pilot James Darrell was one of Bermuda's most celebrated black Bermudian pilots. In 1789, he was one of 3 slave pilots chosen to work with Lieutenant Thomas Hurd in charting the waters around Bermuda. The work of Thomas Hurd led to the discovery of the Narrows Channel and Maury's Anchorage. When Admiral George Maury visited Bermuda in 1795, James Darrell was chosen to pilot his ship through the Narrows Channel into Maury's Anchorage. Admiral Maury was so impressed with James Darrell's skill that he recommended that he be given his freedom. Pilot James Darrell was granted his freedom and became the first documented black man to own a house in Bermuda. He purchased this house at number 5 Aunt Peggy's Lane, and the area has been named Pilot Darrell Square in his honor. Pilot Darrell died in 1813 at the age of 64 and was buried in the slave graveyard at St. Peter's Church. St. Peter's Church is the oldest Anglican church site in continuous use in the Western Hemisphere. The first church on the site was built by Governor Richard Moore in 1612, and St. Peter's is an important part of the Bermuda World Heritage Site and also a very important site on the African Diaspora Heritage Trail. As in other Bermuda churches, strict segregation was practiced at St. Peter's Church, and black worshipers were obligated to enter the church through this door, which led to the slave gallery, which was separate from the rest of the congregation. Even in death, both black slaves and free men were buried in separate sections of the graveyard, known as the slave graveyard. At the entrance of the slave graveyard is this attractive plaque which identifies this site as part of the African Diaspora Heritage Trail. These plaques can be seen throughout the island at African Diaspora sites.